If you're a realtor and you think working with a veteran just means knowing how to write a VA offer, you're missing out on a big part of the picture. Veterans aren't just buyers using a VA loan. They have completely different set of experiences, needs, and challenges. So what do realtors need to know to truly serve the veteran community? We're diving into that today with a realtor who's lived it for 22 years now. Stay tuned. Well, happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome back to the Mojo Show, your real estate podcast where we talk about everything real estate. I'm your host, Joe Mortgage.
And I'm Cup of Joe Mortgage.
This week's episode, we're focusing on realtors working with veterans because working with veterans is not the same as working with a buyer who happens to be using a VA loan. So today, we're going to discuss what realtors need to know when working with a veteran. But before we get to all of that, of course, a little coffee talk with the Joes this morning. It's back to school day, Joe.
It is the best day of the year. Oh, wait, sorry. It is back to school day. Great for young kids to get back into a routine. I love back to school days. I love seeing the posts too. So on Facebook. But Joe, today was a special one for me. Anna's first day of her kind of, not college career, everything high school and under. So we've been doing these posts for 12 years now. And so going on 12 years of posts of first days. So today was her first first day, excuse me, said that wrong. So it was an emotional morning a little bit, but she had a friend come over. Tina missed it because Tina had to be at work at 7 o'clock this morning. So got the pictures, sent them to Tina. But it was touching because with Anna, it was different than with Hunter. I met Hunter at like 5:30 in the morning. It's dark outside. And he's like, will you just take the picture so I can leave?
Yep. That's typical boy. Anna
had a sign done. She had her friend come over. She had it all planned out. So
girls,
and Remington did a photo bomb because it was kind of raining this morning.
Oh, so did he?
Yeah, she did. So we had the picture in the front, like where the front door is, and we have a glass door there. And so Remington's looking out the door as I'm taking the picture. So she photo bombed a little bit. So
love it, Remy.
Yeah,
nice.
But so, did you guys do that much? Did you do the first day pictures and stuff? I didn't know if Samantha did it or not.
I mean, when kindergarten, first grade, maybe second grade, but after that, it was just, here we go. First day of school, you're off, got your lunch, make sure, pick you up later.
Yeah.
And it was off, and until it was her senior year in high school. Now, granted, a week from today, and actually everyone listening in, next week, we won't have the show because I'll be on the road taking Sam, moving her into her dorm at college. So next week, we're going to skip the show, but we'll be back the following week. We'll talk about that at the end. So next week, week from today, will be she's in her senior year now at college. So good stuff there. But
back to TWU, right?
Yep. Back to TWU. Yes, sir.
Good old drive to Denton, Texas. You got that.
Yeah, loving that. Back to your stomping grounds.
Right. Well, I'll be down there today sometime.
Okay. After the show. Well, I tell you what,
excited about today.
So am I. I am just itching to introduce this guy. To have him on our show, I think, is a great privilege. Surprisingly, folks, only 1 out of 8 eligible veterans ever use their VA loan benefits. Our next guest has made it his mission to change that number. Matt, He served 22 years in the U.S. Navy, retired as a Senior Chief Petty Officer, and now runs Anchor Up Realty Group in Fulshire, Texas, where he's built his entire business around serving veterans, first responders, and families who've all earned more than they really realize. Please welcome to the show, everyone, Matt Johnson.
Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, there it is. I was about to say, where's the cheers?
Nobody's ever clapped for me before, so I appreciate that. I'm going to have to let my wife know that I finally had a standing ovation.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. We can do it again for you if you want. You ready? There you go.
We got it recorded. I could just play it over and over and over again. Every time I say something in my videos, I'm just going to hit that recording.
Hit the applause button.
Put my hands up, and we're going to be good to go.
There you go. Well, Matt, we're excited to have you on today. I know we're going to go into a bunch of things. VA loans and veterans, it's near and dear to our hearts. Our business partner, Tyler, or my business partner, Tyler, is a Marine, and then
retired Marine.
Yeah. Well, you never tell them that they're ex-military Marines. They're former Marines. They get mad at that one too. So I just say he was a Marine.
Once a Marine, always a Marine. That's what they do. Yeah.
And I know we've had Pat and Gabe on here before. He's a big time VA loan mortgage person and a good guy, a good friend of ours. So it's nice to know some connections in here. But, today, really just jumping into the first topic, I want to know, what are some of the things that are quietly killing VA offers?
Killing offers are, I'm just going to be honest, the number one cause of killing a VA offer most times is the agent on the other side of the deal, because they don't understand how to use or what a VA loan is. It used to be that VA loans are really hard when it came to what everybody has in like air quotations, the things that they're going to make you do to sell this house. But the reality is it's a government-backed loan. So if you've ever closed an FHA loan, welcome to a VA loan. Like at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like it's the same kind of deal now. But it's the agents, because they don't understand the loan. They don't know a lot of things that they've been told from the old guys in their brokerage that is not good. The lore, they're just like Vietnam era veterans. There's no way what you're telling me is true, and I don't believe you, right? That they could use a VA loan. So you have to try to educate them and put the whole paragraph in the email. By the way, I know what you're thinking, you know what I mean? But I think the biggest thing is agents. And then the second thing is what kills a lot of VA loans is the same thing that kills other loans. Veterans think they're good, but they're not good. Meaning they went online, they put some information in there, and it said, go buy a $500,000 house, because, the computer took your word for all the information you put in was completely correct. You've done this before. And so they're thinking that they're good to go there. And then a lot of agents also don't really understand the difference between pre-approval and pre-qualification. So they just run with it. And then when it comes to the end, those agents blame the VA when the VA doesn't loan money. But anyway, I think those are the two biggest things. Agents don't understand the program, so they don't know how to talk to the sellers about it. And then they're really not ready, but they think they're ready. Because, veterans, we just applied to something on there. They told you you're good to go. It's got to be true. Somebody told me I'm good. It's got to be true. They don't really ask questions after, right? So,
no, that's we say the same thing on our end when it comes to VA. One of the things that does it, and I kind of asked the question wrong. I know we're going to talk about this here in a minute, but when it comes to the lending side, is not getting that certificate of eligibility up front. That really hurts us. LO is just like, oh, you were in the military, and they just go on with it. So that's one of the big problems on our end that we find is people they assume, and that assumption right there kills a lot of them too. But I messed up at the very beginning of this, and Joe's already thinking about that. I know Joe introduced you, Matt, but I want to give you time. Tell our viewers a little bit more about yourself versus just your background. But we'd love to be able to promote you and your company and things like that. And that's why we're having you on here. So tell us a little bit about yourself. And then at the end, I know Joe will let you wrap up with more.
Sure. Yeah, no. Well, first off, I want to thank the Joes for having me on. It's a privilege to be on a podcast, to be able to talk to people, especially about something as important as VA loans, right? Earned benefits versus I can just apply to it, right? Not everybody can do this loan. I'm Matt Johnson. I am the team leader for Anchor Up Realty Group out of the Houston, Texas area, mainly Fort Bend County, Texas, Fulshire, Richmond, Rosenberg, Sugar Land. I did 22 and a half years in the Navy. I was in construction for the first part of my career, and towards the end of my career, the last 15 years or so, I did recruiting. So talking to people, networking, meeting people was kind of already there. So when I retired, I decided to get my real estate license because my wife met somebody on a treadmill that said he should probably do that. So I said, all right, cool, let's do that. So, it's up and down. Real estate is that thing that you got to spend money to make money. And, most veterans are true Americans. They live paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? That's how it works. So when you're getting out, you don't have this huge, nest egg on top of kids in college too, right? So I've been all over the place, but really the passion for it is to help veterans with VA loans, right? I know what it's like to try to go get a home loan and talking to a lender or my realtor, and they're telling me, I need your DD 214. Well, I'm not out of the military yet. I don't have one of those. What are you talking about? Actually, you don't even need any of that. What you need is my certificate of eligibility, right? And, all those education things to be able to speak the language of what active duty versus veteran versus National Guard versus, you know what I mean? There's different rules for all of them. And the reason 1 in 8 don't use it is a lot of that 7 of 8 is National Guard members, Vietnam era veterans, guys that only did 4 years and got out. For whatever reason, sometimes people think they have to do a career to be called a veteran. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Yeah, that's not true. So it's that education piece of like helping people understand, like there's no reason you should go anywhere else to purchase a home if you're a veteran than using this program. It doesn't make sense. Like you earned it, you should be able to use it. And that's the piece going forward,
I love how you say that it's an earned right to apply for a VA loan. I never thought of it that way until you said it. Because this is the only loan that's out there that you have to earn the right to have that loan, and being able to get 100% financing, being a paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I would love to say I'm not a paycheck to paycheck person, but we've all lived a life and things happen, especially with 2 kids going to college next year and things like that. But I'm really interested in also, we talked a little bit already about, and one, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I always want to make sure I thank everybody in the military. I didn't go that route, but my son has talked about it, or any law enforcement and first responders. Thank you guys all for what you do. It takes a special person, a special heart to do something like that for others. But when it comes to the VA, when you're presenting an offer, like if you're working with your buyers, what are some of the myths out there that when you're presenting those offers that you believe that are quietly killing VA offers? Like, what are the myths that you're seeing?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. It goes right into what we talked about when we first opened up. Is real estate agents not understanding the program, right? Because my broker told me, that's my favorite one. My broker said, well, when did your broker get their license? 1975. Okay, I get it. Your broker doesn't know, right? Like, no, your seller's not going to have to pay for everything on the inspection report that comes out. Just because it hits the inspection report doesn't mean that your seller is going to pay for that. It is exactly like every other real estate deal that you're going to do. An inspection is going to be done and you're going to negotiate repairs, right? Now, there are things that, and again, this is when you submit offers and you let other agents know what's going on. Depends on what kind of home you're doing, right? Rural land versus being in a suburban area, right? There's 2 different aspects there, right? Is it a septic system or is it city water? City water, let's get it. Septic, got to test the water. It's got to be like potable and safe for the family. And it kills me when you tell people like, hey, the seller's got to treat the water and fix it. They're like, oh my, they freak out. And I'm like, okay, you're freaking out about how much it costs to fix this water, but did you not just hear me? The water's no good. And the person you're representing is living there right now.
Right.
Like that doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So
the wells and the septics always, those are little things that when you're working with the team, Joe and I talk about teams and partnerships, right? Between an agent and a lender. That's where all that stuff comes into questions of, okay, we're looking at rural properties. That should be a conversation between the agent and the lender at time of pre-approval before you make an offer on that house, because there are those things, but those are minor. And I would say lately I've seen better VA appraisals with nothing being asked to be changed versus an FHA, where I don't know why, but I'm having more on FHA appraisals being asked for things versus VA. And I think that's one of the big myths also is, like you said, an inspection's done, but that appraisal, because we don't ever put an inspection in a file. And if you're a lender putting an inspection, a property inspection in the file for the underwriters, you need to just like give your license back and move on to a different career.
Oh yeah. But look, I've seen that happen. And you get back conditions for the home and you kind of go, what? You got to fix that? Like, that has nothing to do with livability or whatever. But what people need to remember though is, this is not a fair game that we're playing. In most cases, it is all, like lawyers and doctors and everybody, like what they're good at or they know is what their expertise is. And if they think they're really good at something, then they're going to key in on that if they see an inspection report, right? So you have to make sure that like you do have those conversations up front and you talk about those things. Another thing that kills the VA loan is they think the appraisal is an inspection. Like, stop. It's an appraisal. It's just like everything else. The reason they think it's an inspection is because when the appraiser goes in, there's a couple things they're going to do that's different than other appraisers. They're actually going to turn the stove on. Why? Because the stove has to be working for the family to move in and cook food. Because the VA is backing the loan, they want to make sure the home is safe, health, livable for the family. So that means the stove works. That means the AC works. Like if those things aren't working, then yeah, they're going to say that you need to fix those. But that's because it needs to be livable immediately for the family.
Right.
And so you just explain those things. Like it's not different. And then the other thing that I think kills it a lot, which it trips me out, is real estate agents are always worried about VA appraisals. Like you just keyed in, like the appraisal's going to come in crazy. I'm like, okay, I hear you. And they're like, and there's no way that this deal's going to get done if the appraisal's bad. And I'm like, well, you do know that the veteran could pony some money up and meet him halfway, right? They're like, what? Yeah, it's not the end. Like you guys are putting this thing in a box. Again, like I said, your broker from 1975 told you all the bad stuff that he had to go through way back then when he was an agent, which he hasn't been forever. You know what I mean? And it just kind of derails it out. So again, it's the education piece on how the deal goes and how it works. You know what I mean? Like these deals sometimes can close faster than your traditional deals. Like it just really depends on what you're looking at and where you're going, so those things we talked about are part of it, but it's the education is the biggest key.
And that's one thing that I do like about, and I know we have other things we're going to talk about. So my kind of last comment about it is on the appraisals. VA is the only one where the appraiser is looking at that purchase price. And if they're not able to get to that purchase price, they do what's called tidewater. And everybody gets upset about tidewater. I don't, because that's giving me the opportunity to get with my agent and be like, hey, Matt, the appraiser is having an issue getting to that purchase price. What did you utilize to do it? So we can give them the comps. No other loan does that. Nope. They just give you a short appraisal. So I do like where VA, they do the tidewater, because that helps us make sure we're giving them the right information. And
a lot of people don't know about it.
Right.
A lot of loan officers don't know about it. Well, properly using it.
Newsflash, listing agents, do your freaking listing presentations with legitimate comps and don't just look at the neighborhood square footage, so that when somebody calls you and says that the VA has tidewater, you're not freaking out because you don't have 3 like properties that you compared the property to go, this is where I pulled this from. It's in the last 6 months. Here's the homes. They're within this radius. That is, and again, that's the other key, is those agents out there are, in my opinion, they're scared that they're going to get exposed for not doing some of the things they're supposed to do the proper way. And that's why the VA gets blamed for everything, because it's easy to blame the VA, because that's all you see veterans bitching about every day is the VA's bad, or it's not good, or we don't like what happened. And so that's the easiest route to go, is blame the VA, because the VA gets blamed for everything. But in reality, it's probably the listing agent or whatever. There's a key factor in there, you know?
Well, a lot of times it's also the lender. Sorry, Joe, I know you're about to say something, but it's also the lender, because like you said, that broker that had their license in 76 and have been doing it and they don't like VAs. It's the same thing for some of these retail shops and some of these other companies that have done loans forever. They still remember that, oh, the VA wouldn't buy that loan from us. So they put in these harder things to get that loan done, versus what true VA does not put any guidelines. I mean, they put their guidelines out there, but they don't have all these little overlays and these other things. It's those companies that, oh, the VA kicked back because they didn't do their part. That makes it harder, you know, in some cases. That's what's nice about Joe and I. We're straight up wholesale, so we can go directly to, and they don't have those overlays and different things that we deal with. So.
Yeah. Well, let's switch gears a little bit here, gentlemen. Let's talk a little bit, Matt, in regards to, you know, really what's different about helping a military family relocate compared to just a typical buyer.
Yeah, I mean, a typical buyer, when a typical buyer is moving, let's say it's a company relocation or you're moving, a lot of times your companies in the civilian world are going to help you kind of in some of that stuff. You know what I mean? But when you're a military person, go figure it out, dude. So a lot of times agents will meet a veteran that's moving to the area and they're like, yeah, I'm moving there in 6 months. And they're like, what? Like, because they get their time to go look at the area before they move. And what's different from veteran families versus other ones is the veteran family is 100% focused. And if it's anything like my experience, what school are my kids going to, right? So before they even look at where they're going to get a house or what they're going to do, all that stuff, none of that matters. We want to go to this school, right? Because they've done all the research, they visited, like they school shopped, you know what I mean? They met the principals
before house shopping,
right? Yep. And so they know that they want to be there. They've driven the community. So the difference in veterans sometimes, or active duty service members, when they're moving into your area, you can give them all the neighborhood stats that you want, but they pretty much know where they want to be. So instead of talking them out of where they want to be and going, oh, there's nicer areas, or we can look at other areas too, you don't just have to be dialed in there. They're pretty like, this is where I want to be. Then just do it. That's the other difference, is like, if that's what they want, go get it. They're not going to come back at you later and be mad because you found them in a place that they wanted to be in, right? So their difference is they're very dialed in to where they want to be and why they want to be there, right? Really what you should do as a real estate agent is go, oh, you want to live there? Tell me more about why. Why is it that you want to be there? So that way, when you're looking for schools and you're looking for amenities and all these things that you're doing for your client, you're tying it back into their why. That's why they want to be there. You need to be able to tie that in. And then the other unique thing about working with veterans over others is they're cool with bad news, period. They're good with it. If something bad is going to happen, tell them immediately, because they can probably help you fix it or they can get it done, right? Military members are taught bad news doesn't get better with time. And for whatever reason, a lot of real estate agents and maybe some lenders are afraid to tell that person that it's bad, but they don't realize it's even worse if you wait till 3 days before closing and you can't fix it. But if they knew 2 weeks ago, they probably could have done something to fix that, because there's a lot of things veterans can do to fix issues in VA loans, whether it's getting help here or there from their agent, from family, whatever. And so those are I think the two most unique things. They know where they want to be and why. You just need to learn why that is. And then like just communicate. It's the age old communication, but give them the bad news. They want to hear the bad news. It's fine. They're going to be okay with it.
There's a book called Eat That Frog. I don't know if you've ever read it or heard about it, but that's one of the teachings in that book. And we've done this is do the hard thing right up front.
Yeah.
And if it's a mistake that you made, or if it's anything like that, get it out of the way. And I agree with you. When you do that with a military mindset, they're on top of it. But if you let that drag on and you're doing it last minute and they found out that you knew about this 2 weeks ago, they're going to be upset at that point, because they want to be right in the know, right at the time, and get it fixed. I do love that.
Yeah, for sure.
Mentality.
Yeah, and that's just the key factor. You know what I mean? Is they're built for that, right? They still can fix it with 3 days left because they're used to like short fuse. You're going tomorrow, but they're even better if you give them time. You know what I mean? To be able to do that, and so they do like to be involved in the whole process. Like let them be as involved as they want to be. At the end of the day, here's the deal: they're buying the house, you're not. So stop acting like you control the keys to the kingdom when all, and this is probably going to sound bad for real estate agents. You can hate me later. Put it in the Mojo Show comments. I'm not going to read them. But here's the thing. We open doors. That's it. You open the door, you show the house, you write the offer. But after that, your team of people you work with have to take over to make this thing a reality. So real estate agents also need to stop acting like they're the driver for everything, because really we're not. But if we have a good team with us, we look like we are. That's the difference. You know what I mean? So,
well,
go ahead,
one
Joe.
of the things on the same topic, and Matt, thank you for sharing that, because it is a team effort by all people involved in it. But what you were saying about, they know where they want because of school district and things like that. And I think one of the big things, especially active duties that's transferring, because I deal with some that transfer from Colorado out to Louisiana, there in the Leesville area, they have the right to live on base. So the reason that I think a lot of these families know what they want is because if they don't want to live on base, they've already done their research outside of that. Yep. And there's a reason they're not wanting to go live on base. And I think asking that question, like you said, as an agent or even a lender, asking that question as to why this area, why that, I think you get down to the deeper thing of, my spouse wants this for our kids, or this is the reason, or it's within close proximity. So I love just keep asking that question, why are you for sure this? Then go with
half the time the mortgage is going to be equal to, if not better than, what they're going to pay to live on base anyway. So why would I pay the government or the property management company rent just like I would pay a landlord rent when I can own, and there's advantages and disadvantages to that, right? Like as an agent, really, if you got someone that's moving somewhere for 3 years, you might want to have a conversation with them about what that means. Are you keeping this house? What are you doing with it when you're done? We may not want to go buy the $750,000 house then, right? You don't want to have that one hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you're going to move to Fort Stewart, Georgia, and there's 10 Army units there, and you're going to be there the next 10 years. Okay, well, now let's talk, right? Like, at the end of the day, you also got to make sure that you talk with your team too. You're learning everybody, like if there's any nuances that need to be known, knowing that so that you can, project or help drive the car down the right lane of the road. Like it's the team effort and making sure that you take care of them, but always making sure that you put your client, veteran or not, in the best position possible always.
Well, before we get to kind of one of the last things we want to do, a little rapid fire game we're going to play with you, Matt. Before we get to that, though, I want to expand on what you're talking about. So with veterans putting offers in, and that, how do veterans, how can they compete when it's like in a multi-offer situation?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be so boring, Joe, that they compete in multiple offers the same way everybody else does. They can offer more earnest money. So instead of giving the traditional 1%, give 3%. They can shorten the option period from 7 or 10 days to 5 days. They could, if they're good, it's their dream home, the one they've loved no matter what. They're like, we want this house. And so if you're an agent and you're talking to the lender and you're like, hey man, I've ran the numbers, they love the house, I'm not too sure if this thing's going to appraise in. We might be stupid even numbers, 10,000 short. The veteran's like, I don't care, I want it. You can tell the other agent, hey, listen, we're going to buy this house and I'm going to send you this addendum or amendment that says, hey, as long as this house appraises within $10,000 of this number, we're still buying, and we'll sign it right now. Those are the things that you can do in any deal that make the deal stronger, as long as you know what your client wants and you know what you're trying to do, right? And then the other piece too is we can probably get it done faster than some other people. And again, if you have the right team, you know that, right?
That's
Before the
key,
offer
the
goes
right
in,
team.
I'm asking my partner, my lender, like, hey, realistically, with their file and their buying power, how fast can we get it done? Right? Multiple offer situation, we can close in 21 days. Everybody else is giving you 30, 45, 60, or whatever it is, because they got to go through all this stuff, right? And then I think the biggest kicker that helps veterans, if you can get an agent to understand it, is going, remember, my client does not need $60,000 in the bank to buy this house, period. They need about 3.
Yep.
And the agent's like, what? Yeah, dude, 0 down. I know that you see 0 down, and this is the thing for all those real estate agents out there. 0 down doesn't mean that your client is busted or they're not good. That just means they've earned the right to buy a house. $0 down. They're still going to pay closing costs, but they don't have to put any money down because the VA has said, you served, you did it honorably, you earned it. We're going to back you. You don't have to put any money down to purchase a home, right? That's part of
They've
what
earned
that
it.
earned
They've
benefit
already
means.
put their skin in the game.
Right. So you tell the agent that, like, you're not going to have to verify funds right before this thing comes out because, like, we don't need that much money, right? And so making sure the agent on the other side of the deal understands the advantages of your client. One of the main ones is that 0 down payment. I don't have to make sure they have 60 grand in the bank still before that goes down, you know? And so stuff like that, you know, if we're very confident in the deal, talk to your lending team and go, hey, we need to order this appraisal the moment I tell you that we're good to go out of the option period. We need the appraisal immediately because you don't want the appraisal to hold it up, because the appraisal can hold everything up, you know?
Okay.
And it's not just that deal, it's all deals. But that's why I'm saying it's a boring answer, because all the stuff that I just named, you can do in any offer situation. You know what I mean? You just got to be creative.
Yeah. Right. Well, let's try to wrap things up. We're over time as it is. Joe, I think we need to start expanding this show past 30 minutes.
I think we need to go 45.
I think so too, because we're just constantly running over and not able to fit everything in. So let's do a quick with Matt. Let's do a quick rapid fire game with you. Tell the audience with these, is it a myth or a fact? Myth or fact? So the first one, VA loans are harder to close.
Myth.
Second, VA appraisals always kill the deal.
Myth.
VA buyers ask sellers to pay all their closing costs.
Myth.
See the pattern here?
I feel like you're tricking me right now. Is this trick questions?
Hey, we also have at Triple on the show, because whoever is at Triple Threat, what is that? Triple Threats Vets podcast.
There we go.
They're answering with you. So let's keep going. Go, Joe.
All right.
Yeah.
2 more.
All right. 2 more. Sellers don't like VA offers.
Oh, it's a fact, depending on your real estate agent, until you find out that the owner is a veteran. And it's like, why wouldn't they take another veteran buying it? It should be a myth, but it's more often a fact, because that's what a seller is led to believe from their agent. I know that I'm busting on you real estate agents right there, but you know who you are. Just look in the mirror and be like, I'm going to do better tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Comes across better from you than if we're busting on them. So,
but it's true though. It's true. And it sucks, but it's just the way it works. You know, everybody wants to support a veteran until you got to write that offer. You know what I mean?
All right. Last one. A veteran has to have perfect credit.
Oh, myth. We established early in the show, we're like the true Americans, paycheck to paycheck, dude.
Right?
We're good to go.
Absolutely. I want to give a quick shout out here to Matt and his team over at Triple Threat Vets podcast. Folks, if you're a veteran, even if you're not a veteran, if you're a passionate patriot like me, tune into this podcast. It is phenomenal. I've been listening to it. It's Thursday evenings, 7 p.m. Central. It's a great podcast. One of the last guests that they had on, the boxer, Matt, I loved that show. That was fantastic. You've had some amazing people on your show. So everyone out there, go to their YouTube channel at Triple Threat Vets Podcast. subscribe to it, please, and watch us, because it's entertaining. I will tell you that, but it's amazing, the stories that they have that come on there. So good stuff there. So let's try to wrap things up here. I do want to mention, though, as realtors, listen, a veteran isn't just another buyer using a VA loan. If there's anything I want you to grab from this show today, realtors, there's someone who earned a benefit, and a realtor who understands that benefit and understands the person behind it can serve them at a much higher level. If you're a veteran in the Houston area and you want to work with a top tier veteran that understands it, focused realtor, reach out to Matt Johnson at Anchor Up Realty. Sorry, I almost screwed that up for you, Matt. Apologize. Anchor Up Realty Group. Reach out to him. You can see the ticker down below has all of his contact information. Next week, folks, we will be off. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we'll be off as I move my daughter back to college. So please pray for my back. It doesn't give out. However, the following week, when we return, we'll have a special guest back on our show, Nash Paradise, to give us an update on the market. So tune in 2 weeks from now at our usual time, Wednesday, 9 a.m. Even better still, be sure to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe at The Mojo Show Real Estate Podcast. Hit that subscribe button, because we are on a journey to get to 1,000 subscribers. And every like, share, and comment helps us reach more home buyers like yourselves. Before we close things out, any last words or nuggets of advice for our listeners, Joe?
I just want to say thank you, Matt, for coming on. And if you are looking, and veteran or not, if you're looking in the Houston area and you need a great team and agent, please get a hold of Matt. We want to make sure we're promoting him. Listen to the podcast. I know we've already put that out there and shared that too. I'm interested. I'm going to be listening to it for the next 9 hours while I'm driving down to Texas. So I'm going to go through a couple of your episodes. So I'm interested, and I will make sure I give you some feedback on it too. But again, thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Guys. Thank you, Matt. Well, I'm Joe Mortgage, and that handsome guy with the beard down there is Cup of Joe Mortgage, and we'll see you next